November 8th, 2022. That morning, millions of families opened their crypto exchange app expecting to see their balance. By the afternoon, it was gone. Forever. Not because the market crashed, not because they made a bad trade, because they left it in the wrong place. Don't keep your crypto on an exchange. Here's why. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the smartest people in crypto keep almost none of their money on an exchange, and the one 10-minute step that separated the people who lost everything from the ones who didn't. Let's go! Most people buy crypto on an exchange. Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, whatever. They see their balance. They see the numbers going up. They feel like it's theirs. Here's the part most people never learn until it's too late. When your crypto is sitting on an exchange, it's not actually yours. Not the way you think. Think of it like this. Your crypto on an exchange is like money you left with a friend to hold for you. You trust the friend. You believe they'd never spend it. But if that friend goes bankrupt tomorrow, legally, that money is theirs, not yours. That's not a scary theory from the internet. It's actual bankruptcy law, written into the terms of service you scrolled past when you signed up. And it's not just a small risk. Over the last decade, this exact thing has cost everyday people over $70 billion. Let's look at what actually happened. November 2022, FTX was the third largest crypto exchange on Earth, over 1 million customers. Sam Bankman-Fried was on magazine covers. Tom Brady was in the ads. Larry David did their Super Bowl commercial. 10 days later, the entire company had collapsed. Real numbers. FTX had roughly $9 billion in customer money. It had less than $1 billion in actual cash. That's an $8 billion hole. Behind the scenes, FTX had been secretly using customer funds to make risky bets. When too many customers tried to withdraw at once, the money just wasn't there. On November 8th, FTX froze all withdrawals. Regular people, retirement savers, everyday users, locked out of their own money, overnight. A judge later said, "Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls." Here's the part almost nobody realizes. FTX didn't feel risky. It felt safe. It had a Super Bowl ad. It sponsored an NBA arena. Every headline said it was the future, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. And this wasn't the first time. It wasn't even the biggest. To understand how deep this problem really goes, we have to rewind to 2014. February 2014. Mt. Gox was handling 70% of every Bitcoin trade on Earth. Not most, 70%. If you owned Bitcoin back then, chances are it was sitting on Mt. Gox. Then one day, the website went blank. 850,000 Bitcoin. Gone. At the time, that was worth around $450 million. Now guess what that same amount of Bitcoin is worth today? Over $50 billion. You heard that right. The customers who lost their Bitcoin in 2014, they didn't just lose $450 million. In today's money, they lost over $50 billion in generational wealth. One typical account had hundreds of Bitcoin, bought at pennies. Regular people, early believers. Today, those coins would be worth tens of millions of dollars. They're still fighting for pennies back, over a decade later. FTX was the newest example. Mt. Gox was the first. Both taught the same lesson. Neither one was the last. Now here's the version that hits closest to home, because this one didn't feel like a casino. It felt like a bank. July 2022, Celsius Network, high returns, safe deposits. The CEO went on YouTube every single Friday and told his 1.7 million customers, "We are safer than banks." Then Celsius froze all withdrawals. Then filed for bankruptcy. The real number they owed customers, $4.7 billion. The real number they had in cash, $167 million. A shortfall of over $4.5 billion. Gone. Real letters were filed with the bankruptcy court by real families. One newly retired senior citizen wrote, quote, "I have only had assets on Celsius since 2022, with nothing to show for it. Not one penny." Another wrote about losing $30,000 of their retirement savings. Another was a nurse raising a newborn daughter. These weren't gamblers. These were families, trusting a platform that told them it was safe. And Celsius is just one of 4. But before we get to the number that shocks everyone, let's talk about why this keeps happening, because almost nobody explains the mechanics. First, rehypothecation. Big word, simple idea. Exchanges take your crypto and lend it out, trade with it, or use it as collateral for their own bets, all while you think it's just sitting in your account. Second, the fine print. Every major exchange has terms of service saying if they go bankrupt, you are an unsecured creditor. That means you get paid last, if at all. Third, no insurance. Your bank has FDIC coverage up to $250,000. Your crypto exchange has nothing. If the money disappears, nobody reimburses you. Now the number that nobody puts in the thumbnail. Add it all up, just those 4 exchanges. FTX, $8 billion. Celsius, $4.7 billion. BlockFi, $10 billion. Mt. Gox, $455 million at the time, over $50 billion today. Well over $70 billion of everyday people's crypto vanished because it was on an exchange. That's not a small number, not a fringe risk. That's what actually happens when things break. This is the crucial part. Every single one of those exchanges felt totally safe the day before it collapsed. Working websites, happy customers, a balance next to your name. And every single one, that balance disappeared. And that's just what we know about. The collapses we haven't seen yet are still coming. So how do you make sure you're never on that list? The answer is deceptively simple. They move their crypto off the exchange as soon as they buy it. There's a saying in crypto you're going to hear for the rest of your life. Not your keys, not your coins. Here's what that actually means. Every crypto wallet has a private key. Think of it as the master password to your money. Whoever holds that key owns the coins. When your crypto is on an exchange, the exchange holds the key, not you. That's why they can freeze it. That's why they can lose it. The solution is self-custody. You hold the key, and a hardware wallet is the tool that lets you do that safely. A hardware wallet is a small physical device, about the size of a USB stick. Your private keys live on it, not on the internet, on something you physically hold. There are 2 hardware wallets that dominate the market. Either one will do the job. DCent Biometric Wallet uses your fingerprint to unlock, supports Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, XDC, and thousands more. 0 hacks to date. This is the one we personally use on this channel. Ledger Nano X at $149, the industry standard, Bluetooth enabled, supports over 5,500 coins. Both cost less than most people spend on a night out. Buy directly from the manufacturer's official website. Never Amazon. Never third-party sellers. A full step-by-step setup video is coming to this channel soon. But here's the whole game in one sentence. Use the exchange to buy. Move it to a hardware wallet. Own it yourself. That's the 10-minute step that separates the people who keep their money from the people who lose it. Remember that family from the beginning? Dad checking his balance, smiling, then it was gone. Now, the honest truth most people never say out loud. If you have any real amount of crypto, even a few $100s, sitting on an exchange right now, you're taking a risk you probably don't need to take. Not because that exchange is definitely going to fail, because you have no way of knowing if it will. Every single person who lost money on FTX, on Celsius, on Mt. Gox, every one of them thought their exchange was different. Every one of them thought it wouldn't happen to their platform. Every one of them was wrong. The people who don't lose money in the next collapse, and there will be a next collapse, are the ones who took action today to move their crypto to self-custody. Nobody who moved their crypto off FTX before November 8, 2022 lost anything. Everyone who didn't lost everything. Which side of that line is your family on? Crypto is one of the biggest wealth-building tools of our generation, but only if you actually hold on to it. Over $70 billion has already been lost by people who kept their crypto in the wrong place. Don't join them. An exchange is where you buy your crypto. It is not where you hold it. Move it, protect it, own it. That is the difference between the people who build wealth through this and the ones who lose everything. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. This is XRP and Friends, the future of finance. Built different.